in a nutshell, what is the von der Heyden Group's raison d'etre, reason for being? What is the why that led to its inception and that still endures more than 30 years on, as the company has continued to grow?
It's probably pretty much the same as with every young man who's ambitious. So I was working in the bank as a stock exchange dealer, and I didn't feel I was rewarded enough. And 1989, I decided to become self-employed. Very quickly, the Berlin Wall collapsed and communism collapsed, which was for me very important, an emotional moment in my life, because I was pretty much against the system over there, and as a young boy traveled to Berlin many times. And from that moment on, we started renovating buildings in Leipzig and Dresden. Very quickly came to Poland in 1990, and that was really the start of our group to excel. We have in the meantime built in more than 20 cities in Europe, which makes us very proud. We have shaped cities, contributed to the economies, and I think the major reason for our success is that we have a good feel for the market sentiment, and our timing is an important part of that.
The group has a solid track record in real estate investment all around Europe. Could you maybe share some specific highlights that illustrate this, please?
One of our most remarkable transactions at the time was that we were able to build for PwC. I'm talking about 1996. This is now 27 years ago. And big PwC trusted a young man to build their corporate headquarters in Warsaw. And from that moment on, we really excelled. We have been able to close major transactions like public-private partnerships with the city of Poznan, which is a 500,000 inhabitant city in Poland, one of the most important cities in the country. We have been building Liberty Corner, which houses the Irish Embassy. We built for the Polish Bank Guarantee Fund, a subsidiary of the central bank. So we have done many remarkable transactions which would not be called normal.
Andarcia Silver, the fourth and last phase in Poznan, is an intelligent ESG-oriented building in the heart of the city, and the city's highest building, which was recently set up by the group and forms part of Poznan's financial district. Could you take us behind the scenes and tell us a little bit more about this significant achievement in the group's history?
Like I said before, we have formed a private-public partnership with the city of Poznan in 1996. At the time, the city had the option to sell that big plot in the center of the city, and we convinced them to actually do a private-public partnership with us. The city's estimate for that plot was around 5 million euros at the time, and the city has in the meantime received from us through dividends and distributions more than 30 million euros. We have built in total 3 phases so far. The first phase was Poznan Financial Center, then came Andarcia Towers, and last Andarcia Business Center. All buildings have been fully rented before completion or shortly after, and we are now starting the 4th phase, as you mentioned, called Andarcia Silver. And Andarcia Silver is a 40,000 square meter office building, and we are very confident that this building will be leased up as well around completion date.
What are your comments on the group's success in sustainable growth, the communities in which it operates, and what this means for its investors?
I think what is most important to talk a bit about our value system. Our value system is very much driven by human values. We proudly can say that we have never let anybody stranded. We are very integral in what we do. We look after the people and the countries and the cities where we invest, and we do give back. So that is very important before we actually expect to take. And I think that makes us a bit different from the mainstream. We are considered trustworthy for banks, for construction companies, architects, engineers, name it. And that is very, very important. The fact that we work for many years, up to 25 years with the same companies, is actually a testimony of that.
In your view as founder and chairman of the group, what would you say has contributed to the group's growing international reputation?
The underlying factor for our success is certainly the skill set of our multidisciplinary team, which works out of Malta and oversees our projects in 9 countries by now. What is very important is when we go into markets, we tend to be early. We try to not go with the stream. We can even say we are anti-cyclical in our approach. A testimony of that is that we are building Andalusia Silva now, whilst everybody is talking about Europe heading into a recession. The good news is nobody is now building except one very strong competitor. However, that building will be leased up within this year and next year. So when we come with Andalusia Silva to the market, there will be nothing on the market. So I think one has to be bold in business, however, with controlling risks, being careful, and do your business in a circumspect way.
What is the impact of this success on subsequent financial returns? Could you comment on how the Blue Towers in Munich and the timing of this sale are an example of this?
The Bavaria Tower project, which had originally a different trading name, was for sure the most remarkable transaction in our company history. We have bought that property back in 2006. It consisted of 3 pretty rundown 1970s properties. And not only friends ask me, why for Christ's sake are you buying these buildings? Our vision was clearly, together with other neighbors, namely the city of Munich, who owned a plot, and Zurich Insurance, to create something really big. And our plan was really to change the face, the east of Munich, the gate to Munich in the east, and bring this whole area from around 50,000 square meters to 100,000 square meters. That obviously wasn't possible by just maybe adding 2 floors. It was only possible by knocking down what was existent and through an architectural competition create something really special. And we have managed that, and we're very proud of that project. We now have 4 towers comprising around 100,000 square meters there, and we have set an example for Munich, and Bavaria Towers as a landmark project in Germany.
And what can you say about the importance of timing in the world of real estate investment when quality is a given?
Yeah, you're really asking the right questions. It is a very good question, because timing, obviously alone, is not everything. We have said for more than 20 years timing is everything. We have expanded that sentence and saying now timing is everything as quality goes without saying. So for us, building quality together in getting the timing right is the recipe for success. However, you need to obviously still put more dots together and draw a line, but we are generally, I would say, successful because with timing right, we get market sentiments right, and we have done many things in an anti-cyclical manner and not running with the crowd. And therefore, timing has been crucial and pivotal for us, especially when it came then selling properties, because 2 or 3 times for very big properties, we have been able to sell them right before either a financial market crash, like it was the case 2008, or in 2020 when we sold Bavaria Towers. It was literally 1 month before COVID broke out. So I think you can't be more lucky in timing. It wasn't just luck, I think, looking back, but luck is also important. In case of Bavaria Towers, we have quadrupled the equity for the investors. Because of the size of the project, in total it was a 350 million euro project. We could not do this project alone. I wish we could have, but I also believe in share and rule. So we had other partners in the company who we very decently returned their money 6-fold. And you can imagine they're very happy, and they will be happy partners in the future.
What can you tell us about the recently launched bond rollover?
We have issued a bond around 5.5 years ago of 25 million, which had a coupon of 4.4%. So looking at the pipeline of projects which we have, we felt it's a good offering for the current bondholders to swap over from that bond into a bond with a tenure of 10 years and a coupon of 5%. So what does this mean for both sides? For us as an issuer and for the bondholders as our investors, it gives continuity and stability to both sides. We can embark on projects which have a normal lifespan of 3 to 7 years, whilst if you have a short-term bond only, you are stuck without being able to really dispose the funds because you have an upcoming redemption of a bond. So therefore, this is the decision we took to redeem the existing bond early and raise 10 million additional equity.
Heyden Group has a strong presence in Malta and has already achieved much for Malta's community. Could you share some highlights of past achievements and talk us through current ongoing operations?
Yes. So, what the most important thing is that our company and group is managed from Malta. So we have a team of around 15, 16 skilled, ambitious and mostly young employees. I'm also very proud that most of them are Maltese. And from here we manage our activities in 9 different countries. In Malta itself, we have invested in 2 real estate transactions in the past, which we exited with a good profit. However, on a longer term, we have now decided to buy the property which we operate already, the Kukulkan Machina in the Grand Harbour in Senglia. The Machina is famous because it used to be the headquarter of the Socialist Party, and at the same time it was the head of the seat of the Admiralty, the British Admiralty during the British times, and therefore a wonderful project with a lot of history. And we have turned that old fortification into a 5-star hotel with 21 suites. Apart from that, in terms of when we come back to giving back, we have had beautiful projects like the Valletta Soup Kitchen, which we supported. We do support certain environmental undertakings, and we actually want to expose ourselves more to the ecologic investments here in Malta, because we strongly believe that this is what Malta needs.
And what can you tell us about any exciting future projects that are in store on the local scene? What is the group's overall vision for future operations and ventures?
We have recently closed a transaction to buy a plot of land where we want to do a 20,000 square meter warehousing project in the south of the island. We generally, as you can now gather, given that we have invested in the Machina Hotel in Senglia, we believe in the south, in line with the current government policies, and we have actually more to come in that area. However, I cannot speak about that yet. What I can speak about is the warehousing project of around 20,000 square meter in the south of Malta. Apart from that, we are very proud to be in partnership with the Hamed's restaurant chain. We have now 5 establishments on the island within 5 years, and we are sitting here in the beautiful Hamed's Monastic restaurant, which has recently opened. A very interesting concept with organic food. We source the food locally, around 90%, which is probably quite unheard of in Malta. It has been a challenge, but we are being supported by local farmers, and it's doing very well.
Finally, what would you say sets you apart from competitors in the industry? What would you say to a prospective client who may, for whatever reason, be on the fence about moving forward? Why should they ultimately decide to engage Heyden Group's services?
Trust. So, like we said before, we discussed that. It's the most important thing is trust. So the trust we give towards our co-investors, bondholders, engineers, architects who wait for their invoices to be paid, trust is everything in our world. So given the fact that we have not once ever handed in keys to any bank who granted us loans, we have never let an architect and engineer down on the payment of his invoices. So the fact that we work for many of them for more than 25 years speaks for itself. We have employees who work even 33 years for us since the inception of the company. So I think there are certain things where we can proudly say we do them right. Okay. Apart from that is our level of detail and quality is probably quite rare. We drive people crazy with being very particular, perfection focused. And our latest Italian investments prove that. We have established a wonderful team of architects, engineers, project managers, interior designers on the first project, which is under construction, and it's slated for completion next year. And that is a winning team, and we will keep that team together to immediately then do the next project in Tuscany. On a very personal note, I do live 9 years here in Malta, and I wasn't supposed to live here 9 years. I had planned to live here for 3 years. And I think the thing I really observe here is that all stakeholders have to start changing their attitude and not think that money is everything. I think the island needs special attention now when it comes to green areas, green zones, family retreats, noise, less aggression on the road, and think more for each other. I think this is very, very important. We do want to support that with everything we can, and I do speak to many Maltese friends of mine and acquaintances and sometimes high-profile people in the society, and I have to say most of them concur with my thoughts. So it is something we need to publicly address, I think, all of us, and all of us need to contribute to make Malta an even better place. I also don't believe that Malta is a place for more quantity. I think Malta needs quality foremost. We should rather have 1 million tourists who spend double from what 2 million tourists spend. It will be good for us, it will be good for the island, for the natural resources we have, which are scarce, because 2 million people showering a year is substantially more water than 1 million people. And therefore, I think Malta as a country, Malta as an island, should focus on quality.